Hello, welcome. Wishing you well. Whether it is the beginning of the year, if it is a January phase and a happy new year in 2025, or whether you're tuning in partway through the year, I hope that this finds you well. And I hope that you are ready for some intuitive readings and oracle wisdom and inspirational guidance. My name is Sheila Bicknell. I am BlueWater Oracle, and I am happy to be with you here. I am recording this on January 1st, 2025 in the afternoon. I am located just outside of Montreal in Quebec, Canada, off the island of Montreal to the west. And it is snowing today. So we're having some warm, sort of mushy snow, but it's making things bright again after a few days of melty. And I am here ready to do my year wheel. So this is an opportunity for me and you to have a look at some of the energies around each month of the year and themes, any themes that want to come up for the year. So it's a one take video. Here we go. We're getting ready to go. So it can be great. It can be wild. It can be crazy. And it can be just straightforward, valuable. So let's see how we're going to go. I have already shuffled and laid out the cards because that takes a while in itself. So I have one card for each month of this 2025 year, and there is one theme card for this year. Now, I do have my cards around. So if there's ever an extra card that wants to come up or something that wants to be clarified, we can, of course, go to the cards as well. As we look at each month, I invite you to tune into your own intuitive guidance. What does that card mean for you? Not only with what I am saying about it, but what its images, what its words are, what comes up for you. And let yourself take a little journey in opening the door into that card for that month. This is not to predict what will happen in each month, but rather to guide you, to give you insights and points of view and points of reference. So when you get to that month, you can look at it and go, oh, yeah, that makes sense from this point of view or this perspective. Or if you're looking ahead in the year, you could look to the next month or a couple of months down the road and say, oh, I'm already seeing that. I want that energy to start to play for me and with me. And I want to be able to work with it and to see what wants to come up with that card and with that energy. So it's to open doors, it's to invite insight, it is to bring intuitive messages as well, working with your higher self, working with spirit, working with the earth energy, and all that is good and valuable to us. So we are protected, we are safe, we are well. And as always, with any reading, you take only what feels right and true to you. So if one of the cards for one of the months just doesn't resonate or doesn't make sense for you, don't worry about it. Pull your own card, see where you want to go with it. Or if at some point it resonates, then you can look back and go, oh, now I see how perhaps there's a connection there. We never want to use the cards when we're looking ahead, like we are now, as it is going to be like that, or it has to be like that. No, there's freedom of choice, freedom of will anywhere. So you can also look at a card for a specific month and say, I am already seeing that, and I would like to make changes. I would like to bring in something different. I would like to invite in a change of perspective, new energy, different options for myself for that month. So you can do that as well. Freedom of choice always. Free will is absolutely important, and the cards are here to guide and support you. So they are not here to bring you insights or challenges or difficulties. They're here to expand, to explore, to discover together. And as my little candle is now going, yeah, I'm totally doing that. So here we go. Shall we get started? I've got some crystals laid out, and the crystals for the energy of the new year for me, they felt to be the very red crystals, the yellow ones. So in my group of crystals that I have, I've got red jasper, I've got citrine out. I also have a green moss agate. I have a rose quartz, a clear quartz. I have a green sparkly one, which I can never remember what it's called. It's a little bit green sparkly. And I also have a blue one, which I can't remember the name of either, and I didn't look it up. So it's this one. So if you know what it is, let me know. All right. So it's kind of a little bit of a sort of gray colored blue in there, but also a little bit of a sparkle, almost a goldy fleck sparkle in there as well. So these are all hanging out with my big selenite wand, who is our companion for many, many readings, bringing clarity, bringing clearing to the cards and the crystals as well. Let's get going. Our cards, we've got cards from most of my usual decks. So those who follow me, I'm a multi-deck reader. I work with different decks because I love to see how they play and explore together. And I love that we can get repeat messages with slight twists or differences in them. And so I love it. We've got two tarot decks that are involved in this year's reading. The Robin Wood Tarot by Robin Wood, which is Llewellyn Publishing, and also the Gilded Tarot by Chira Marchetti, sorry, also Llewellyn. And then we've got decks by Denise Lynn, Native Spirit Oracle, Gateway Oracle, and Soul Coaching Oracle cards. We've got Stephen Farmer's Earth Magic, Temporary Block, Earth Magic Oracle cards. And we also have Judith Orloff's Power of Surrender Oracle cards. Those are all Hay House published. And we have the Halloween Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, which is Blue Angel Publishing. I think I've got everybody. So that's the whole gang that is out in all different ways around this 12-month reading, this year wheel. So get your notepad ready. You don't have to watch the whole thing at one time. You will see that as I go through the year, I'll be putting down timestamps so you can go into different months and just check. We have one theme card, so you're going to have a look at that at the end of the year as well. And feel welcome to do this in installments or to watch it all one time through and then come back and remind yourself. Make notes if you want to, so that you get your own intuitive insight of what comes up for you for that month with that card, because that is highly valuable. That's you speaking to you. That's your spirit, your energy working with you and what you want to bring up and what you need to know in that phase of the year. Woohoo! Here we go. So our first card for January, which is where we are now, we're January 1st when I'm recording this, and 2025. And the first card is from the Native Spirit Oracle cards. So I'll show you the back of the deck. This is the back of the deck, Native Spirit Oracle cards. And the card for January is Answering the Call. Answering the Call. Okay, it's a beautiful card. So here we see as if the storm has calmed. Things have gone by, the clouds are moving off, the waters are now calm in this little cove and beyond, and we're getting a rainbow. So we know there's been precipitation, we know there's sunlight now, we're getting a rainbow. And we've got the solid stones around. So it's answering the call. So first of all, take a deep breath. It's January 2025. Take a deep breath. Hopefully you didn't go through a lot of storms in 2024, challenges, difficulties, really tough times. But if you did, or if you're connecting with others who did, or aspects of the world that were really challenging this year, then this is a moment to just come into your absolute present, your full-on present moment, and feel, take a breath. Okay, what is going on for me right now? Where am I? Am I in the storm? Is the storm past? Am I in a little break? Am I completely, I have no idea what's going on? So check in with you in your present moment, because it's very easy to get caught up in things of the past as we process them, as we work through them, as we walk through them. And also to have awareness of future things we're thinking about, planning, worrying, questioning, not sure of. And so this card is saying, with this answering the call, let's come into this present moment with this beautiful, calm energy that it's bringing. And then you get a chance to listen. You get a chance to hear, where am I answering the call? And what call is that? Is it a call of your own self? Is it a call of your own being that is saying, you need this, this, and this? Is it a call to be of service to others? And in what way? Is it a call within your family, within your friend group, or beyond in community, in organizations, in world events, world situations that you are working on or working for or working about. But you got to listen first. So if you've already got a lot going on, this is then a check-in to say, am I still answering the call? And how has it changed? What are my needs? How have they changed? Where am I going forward? And how am I going to start to do that? You won't have all the answers. If you do, fantastic, more power to you. But if you don't have the answers, don't worry about it. Just get to know where are you now and what does this answering the call feel like? So if there was a telephone and it was ringing for you, what would be the insight that would start to come through? What would be the discussion, the conversation that would be had, and answer that? It may be all about you, for you, or it may be for you and about other things as well. Okay. Rainbows are present. So no matter whether you are full of white light energy or golden light, or if things are feeling a bit more difficult right now, not so easy to see through, not so vibrant in terms of color and awareness and openness, give yourself some opportunity to remind you of what are the rainbows. So what are the gratitude things that you have that you're grateful for, thankful for? What are the positive aspects of your life? What are the challenges that you have walked through and worked through? And you've maybe come out on the other side of the storm, or are able to look at the storm in a really different way and say, oh yeah, this now makes sense to me. Or I see it, I can see it for the beauty and the wonder that's there, and maybe the power in the storm as well. That was a theme right at the end of 2024. I pulled a couple of cards and there was energy around power there. So empowering yourself, but also harnessing whatever power you're utilizing for yourself in good, healthy, valuable ways. So this is reminding you to get those rainbows. And if you need to print a rainbow, draw a rainbow, wear something that reminds you of rainbow colors, to remind you that within everything are these colors. We see these colors. And whether we're looking at like a pale colored wall here, in the spectrum of color, in the white, there are all of the colors. But sometimes we need to remind ourselves what is present, how we see them, how we feel about them, in order to allow the next flow, to allow the next opportunity, the next invitation, the next healing, the next acceptance, and the next joy and play and exploration. So what else comes up for you around answering the call? Okay. Part of it also feels like, as a January, for many people, there are new beginning energies, but it's also the acknowledgement of what has come before and how far you've come, who you are, what you've learned, what skills you've obtained, what knowledge you have put into practice, what storms you've weathered, what challenges you've made it through to the other side, what acceptance you've come into understanding, what healing you've allowed to take place, and on and on and on. So if you want to look back a bit, or to feel into who you are and how all this measures up and contributes to you, then allow yourself perhaps to list off some of those things, or sit and meditate on them and feel into them, so that you get that sense of, oh, I have already answered some calls, and then this is next. This is now what's coming in my present moment and in the upcoming near future. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. There's also a reminder here, as I look at this water, to make sure that you are connecting with your fluid in the body. So for some of you, you may not know, my background was clinical nutrition. And for some people, drinking adequate fluid is very easy. It goes easily. It happens naturally. But for other people, because of busyness or other foods and drinks we're having, or just not so good signaling from the body, you may not be getting enough of the required fluid intake to keep all of your cells going well, to eliminate waste products, and to help the recycling and moving about of things in the body that you need. So check in with yourself. Are you getting enough fluid? Water is great, clean, clear water, very important. If you have any medical needs, you need to double check. Are there limits on that, or are you okay with a certain amount? But check in. Check in on the water you're getting in. Bless it. I'll ask it to help as it goes into your body. Connect with it, feel it. When you take a shower, the same thing, or a bath, really allow yourself to connect with the water so that it helps to bring you that calmness and that healing and that beautiful energy. Yay. So that was January 2025, the Answering the Call from the Native Spirit Oracle cards. I'm going to have a sip of tea in my fancy new gnome mug. So cute. And let's move on to February. February is from the Gateway Oracle cards. Same author, different deck. So in February, we step into stillness. So the card is stepping into stillness. And the affirmation is, my power is born in the majesty of silence. Okay? My power is born in the majesty of silence. So it's stepping into stillness. We see this beautiful woman sitting in a dress. She's barefoot. She's relaxed. Her arms are gently relaxed, crossed along her waist. And she has her hair down on one side. And her face has an image of serenity, a gentle smile. And the crescent moon she's sitting on also has that same smile, gentle serenity, peacefulness, calmness, stillness. We see the village down the bottom, so we know that there's a lot going on, but it's nighttime in this card, so it is quieter. We can hear things differently. So when you come to February of this year, 2025, this is looking at how can you bring in the aspects of stillness and silence to empower yourself, to bring in more power, to allow yourself to really feel into you and to recognize calmness and peace, serenity, stillness. So what is going on in February that is really asking you to be reminded of these and to bring them into your life? So if there's a lot going on, if you're very busy, then this would be a check-in point. Check in with yourself. What do you need? Do you need a little quiet? Do you need a little calm time? Do you need that brain to be given an option to come into quiet and to work differently for you? What do you need? All right. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, the February is that sort of in-between month. It's winter, but it can have almost spring-like energy sometimes, but it can also be quite gray. It's a shorter month, but it can sometimes bring that need and that big reminder that we start to get in November in the Northern Hemisphere to go inwards, to pay attention to our inner journey, our inner dialogue, our inner voice, and to recognize, what do I need to do from there? What is important for me? So it carries that on a little bit from January, but now it's saying, hey, the stillness is really important. So yes, you can go out and socialize, and yes, you're going to be perhaps going to work or going to be with family or going to organizations that you are part of. But pay attention to where you need stillness so that your body system, your brain, your heart, your gut, your energy, your spirit has a chance to check in with you, chat with you, give you feedback, give you insights, and also recover, rest, heal, have time in the quiet to figure out what it needs. So whether it's a 30-second interval or you're doing an hour-long meditation, whether you're out for a walk in nature where it's quiet, or you're sitting in your backyard and it is snow and still, What do you need? Now, for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, it is, of course, a different energy. You're shifting from late summer. You're having that fullness and the richness. So then it's almost like you want to step into the sort of full humidity of it, depending on where you are, of course, but that kind of um, rich heaviness that wants you to just whew, settle in. And oh, yeah, what does that mean for me? And settle in with there. Okay. Stepping into stillness for February, peace and quiet. The other thing that's coming as I look at this is in February, it feels like there will be an extra call or an extra need for a collective breath, a collective need for prayer, for peace, for focusing on that, for heart-centered energy, and just really caring for each other. So not sure what's going to be happening in February, but it feels as though if you believe in prayer, you're going to invite that in more. But it's that energy around peace, serenity, sacredness that really wants everybody to be spending more time, taking more time, giving more time to focus on that for themselves, for those close to them, but also for the collective and the world. So a good reminder, and it will be interesting to see how that comes to play in February. We can always start it beforehand because we're only January now. So we can start it beforehand. So start to bring it in and maybe we can shift whatever was pondering or thinking about for February. Okay. Next up is March. So for March, we go to the Gilded Tarot. So tarot card for March is the back of the deck, and we get the Queen of Pentacles. We love the Queen of Pentacles. So in this deck, the queens all have a big, strong pillar behind her. This queen has a pentacle or a pentagram all in her hands that is gold and green with a golden sun in it. There are also green pentacles or pentagrams behind her on the pillar. She is dressed in the sort of royal colors, green, gold, purples. She has a beautiful peacock in the background. And there's a feeling of this pentacle wealth and this pentacle abundance and prosperity that comes with her. But it also comes with the balance of the earth suit of the pentacles. So yes, she has this power and prosperity energy. She is holding herself well in terms of how she manages her home, her business, in the case of sort of queen energy or whatever she's working on or working with, her family, but also her finances. She is very aware of where everything is and how it needs to be balanced and how it needs to be invited to come in. And so as I connect with this queen, she wants in March you to really check in where there's flow and where there's stagnation. So being an earth element and the pentacles specifically, they want the balance. It's all about balance. So in my other tarot deck, this would be the five-pointed star with a circle, and that's often called a pentacle. In here, they do the five-sided shape, but it's still bringing in that balance. So she wants you to look at where are things stuck or out of balance, specifically for finances, for money beliefs, but also in terms of anything that represents your balance. So if you are feeling out of balance in any way in your life, if your body is showing it, if your brain is showing it, if you're seeing evidence in your life of something not being in balance, then what she is asking is that you look at where are things out of whack, where is it showing you, and what would you like to bring in to feel, and how would you bridge that gap? So those little steps that are going to shift that balance and allow things to feel more centered and grounded. She also wants you, whether you're male or female or any other sense of sexuality and gender. She really wants you to feel that personal inner strength. So the pillar that she has behind her, it's as if she's actually feeling it going through her. And that is giving her that strength. It is connecting her a bit like the Empress. It's connecting her high up to spirit, heaven, earth, not earth, sorry, spirit, heaven, the air, the vastness of the universe. And then down through her physicality, through her humanness of the body, and down into the earth, grounding with her energy, all of elementals and earth magic that is present. So that's really cool. So that's something you can visualize. And if you tend to slouch, if you tend to get into sort of sloth mode when you're on the computer or when you're standing, if you don't feel very self-confident when you're standing and you tend to kind of roll your shoulders or push away, this is an invitation to practice. To practice. You can do it when you're on your own. You don't have to do it anywhere else to start, but to practice, okay, what would be if I had this powerful, beautiful, balanced, golden, regal pillar through my body, energetic pillar, connecting me up and down, how would I then stand? And feel that, feel your muscles shift, feel how you need to work with your abdominal area, your lower back, feel how your chest expands, feel down through your legs when you're standing, and just up in your neck area, how your head feels. Just let your whole body feel that and practice it. So you're connecting with that queen energy, regardless of your gender or sex. You're connecting with that queen, beautiful, empowered, balanced Queen of Pentacles. Woohoo! But don't think that this means that you don't have to be fun or you can't play or you can't enjoy life, because she's got a little bit of a sneaky kind of look to her. And so she's reminding you, yes, of course you can have fun and play and enjoy. You want to be enjoying life as you connect with it in this March season. It is a start of a change of season as we go from, in the north, winter to spring. In the south, you're going from summer to autumn. So yes, it's an equinox month. You want to feel it and you want to play in whatever way works for you. And all that will be facilitated by all of the previous messages she brought forward. So use them together. Queen of Pentacles for March 2025. I love it. So interesting. Can I have a sip? Okay, March, April. Let's go to April. So April, we're going to the Soul Coaching Oracle cards. This is the back of the deck. And we get leadership for April. Whoa, there we go. We get leadership for April. So we see a hand holding a torch, basically. So a bit like the Olympic torch you could think of. It's that kind of visual. You've got the flame that's sort of flowing and spiraling around. And the affirmation, sorry, the color behind it is a rich burgundy, maroon kind of color, sort of purpley red brown. And it says a little bit of pink in there too. The affirmation on this card says, I am a beacon of radiance, support, and love. I am a beacon of radiance, support, and love. So a little bit like we got in February, around the idea of needing peace and prayer and inviting that and wanting that to be present, and how can we utilize that. This April feels as though there's going to be something similar. So the idea of leadership absolutely can be something that you are embracing and encompassing for you in your life in whatever ways it suits you. If you have a new business, if you have a project, if you are leading a group, if you're leading your family, whatever leadership roles you're in. But there is also a bigger message, and that message is that when we embrace I'm a beacon of radiance, support, and love. Sorry, I'm a beacon of radiance, support, and love in this card. It is asking you to really check in with your behavior, your words, what you put out in energy to the world. So you could think of your posts if you're on social media, what you're writing, what you're saying if you have a podcast. Really pay attention to what is it that you are embodying with your actions, your words, your choices. Your necessity for leadership is there. It is present. We all have in this month, so January, February, March, April. This is April 2025. So in April 2025, this leadership card is saying that it is vitally important that everybody takes a step back before they launch into their leadership. Diatribe is a word that's coming, but I'm not sure if that's the right word. Their leadership vocalizations, their leadership behavior, their leadership actions. Take a step back and double check. Does it have the greater good at play? Is it true? Byron Katie says, do you know for sure it's true? Double check, verify, really embrace the leadership with love, support, radiance, being a beacon of something. So you're always a beacon of something if you're in leadership, but what is the beacon of? And that is very, very important. It feels really important in this April month. So again, I'm not sure what is perhaps brewing down the line for April. I invite you, if you're already watching this beforehand, I invite you to pay attention to these messages before. So perhaps some energy can be shifted ahead of time as needed. Okay. Ignite something, but be wary of what you ignite. Be cognizant of what you ignite. Because sometimes fire is the thing that gives us light and helps us with our food and gives us warmth. But sometimes fire also destroys when there isn't preparation, planning, maintenance, or when there's carelessness or worse. Okay. So it's that sort of energy that's coming in the in the April leadership card. Sometimes when I'm reading and speaking, I'm getting both things at the same time. So apologies when I lose a word or lose part of a word. So that's really important. What are you igniting? And this is equally important for you and your physicality and your body and your life, your wellness, as it is for those around you, those close to you, those you care about, and also beyond your community, your organizations, your community gatherings, and also your part of the world and the world as a whole. So that's April. Very interesting. Now we move into May. So May's card is from the Earth Magic deck. And May we get Lotus Flower Unfoldment. Whew. So we take a little bit of a sigh from some of the other cards that feel as though, whoa, there's certain things there and we've got to pay attention to them and notice and really, really be aware and focus. And then we get into Lotus Flower Unfoldment. And how beautiful is this? All right. So we see our lotus flower with the lily leaves, the up in the air, we have the clouds. There's the sun. And in the clouds here is the figure of a cupped, it's the opposite way, this way, a cupped hand, sort of as if it's cupping the sun. So at this point in May of 2025, you are being invited to, a bit like we did in January, check in, double check, okay, where am I? Where am I unfolding into something? How have I shifted so far this year? What is different in this part of this year than last year? Notice what has changed. allow yourself to also have that time to stretch, to come up out of the water, out of the marshland, and see the light and feel the air and spend time with the sunlight. So if you've been hermiting and you have been hiding out or hibernating or doing a lot of one-on-one alone time, this would be an invitation to say, okay, how could you open up, expand, and stretch your wings a little bit and connect with others so that things can unfold with you and for you? It's not an absolute requirement, but it is an invitation to look into that. And if that's already part of your journey, that you're, already out and socializing and doing lots of in-person things, whether it's online or in physical person, check in. Are those representing the unfolding that you want to be embracing for the next part of this year? So when you allow yourself to bloom and blossom and open, are those gatherings, those people really supporting you in your lifting? And can you do the same for them? So there's an energy check here. Are you with the people that lift, sustain, support, invite into healing and growth? Or is there some sort of shift that might be ready to happen with who you're with? And if you have been the person who has been doing a lot of alone time for a myriad of reasons, choose very carefully who you then open up to and spread your wings with, so that you know that they're giving you that support, that care, and that they are aware of who you are and what you need so that you can balance and support each other. The lotus flower is also a reminder of compassion. It feels like it wants to bring a lot of compassion with it. So compassion to you. So check in May. Or how are you doing with self-compassion? Or is it part of your vocabulary? Is it part of your feeling energy, your emotional system? Or is it something that you would benefit from bringing more into yourself, feeling more compassion, being more compassionate with yourself, your journey, your choices, your needs? And then expand it beyond you into really that compassion when you look at other people and hear their stories and you see struggles and you see challenges. It doesn't mean that you need to take on all of their energy, but you can certainly be compassionate. So in your unfoldment, you gain a wisdom that allows you to be compassionate to others more deeply, more readily, and that gives to you, gives to them, gives to the energies, and that's so important. So that's part of this lotus flower that wants to come up, the energy around compassion, because then it's planting seeds. It's planting seeds for more of that to happen, for more of that to be present as it goes on the blossoming, seeding, growing perspectives. Okay, so let me show it to you again. Lotus flower, unfoldment from the Earth Magic Oracle cards. Okay, beautiful card. So then we come to the halfway point with June. So June 2025 is from the Robin Wood Tarot. This is the back of the deck, and we get the Emperor card. So here we have our Emperor Fellow. I'm sorry if my picture is not super, super clear, but here we have our Emperor Fellow. He is sitting on his throne. It's a number 4 card, 4 of the major arcana. And in this one, this is a very Celtic earthy deck. It's a very traditional tarot, but from that perspective, he has a horn that probably would be used either to announce or for beverages on the back of his throne, as you do. There are ravens on either side carved in. There's a big bird flying in the background, could be eagle, could be hawk, could be raven, or something else. You've got big mountains behind, dark red colored, brown colored. And he is sitting with his feet on the earth, as the emperor often does, connecting with the earth. And he's got his very royal outfits of purple and white and red and gold color. And he has also ram, or yeah, it looks like maybe ram on the end of his, where he puts his hands, his armrests. and he's holding, I can't remember what it's called. It's a staff thing that has a globe, and then it has the cross, but it has a circle at the top. Ankh, is that what it's called? I can't remember. So you will know that when you see it. Okay. You can think of that. So the Emperor, this is our June card. So partway through, we've had a Queen and now we have the Emperor. So the Emperor wants us to step into June and to be aware in June of, again, the balance between heaven and earth. So heaven up above, spirit, universe, energy, and earth, humanness, living here, human experience, earth needs, earth requirements as a planet. And he's saying that, yeah, you can have a lot of power and you can do a lot of things and you can make a lot of choices, but you need to wield that stuff well. And the reason you need to wield it well is not only for consequences in your human life, but consequences beyond. And he's making me think at this point, we've gone through holiday season, and it's January 1st when I'm recording this. And he's making me think of A Christmas Carol's story movies that we've watched, because he looks a bit like Christmas Present. And the spirit of Christmas Present, or the ghost of Christmas Present, in most of the movies that I've seen, they come in, they're big, they're a big character, there's sort of bold energy, there's joy and happiness, but there's also acknowledgement of what's difficult and what's tough. There's acknowledgement of the Christmas past and also the Christmas future, that things shift from one year to the next. It shifts. So he is bringing that reminder to me, to bring to you, that yes, you can have a lot of power. Yes, you can wield a lot of force in yourself and on others, but be aware that there are effects of that. And the effects are not only here as a human, but they will be beyond. And that's a really interesting perspective, because I don't think I've sort of had that same expression, if ever, then definitely not in a long time, from cards, that the lessons or the experiences we're having now, there will be things that we will have to work on and work through beyond this lifetime. And it doesn't mean that there is judgment of you in this life. It isn't that, but it is when there is choice, when there is awareness of choice, and that is really important and valuable as you step forward, as you look at what you're doing, because it not only vibrates and affects here and now, but beyond. And that continues. And then it has to be learned and dealt with and shifted and healed beyond. So that's very interesting. Okay. The other things he wants to bring up, let me see. Yes, is the wisdom of perspective. So with whatever you are currently adventuring through in June 2025, give yourself the opportunity, especially if things are challenging or if there's something you're trying to figure out and it's just not working, give yourself the wisdom of perspective. So with the bird in the background and the ravens on his chair, he's reminding me of the perspective of that higher ground. That up in flight shows you things differently than when you're down here. Okay? Think for those who watch a sports game. So it's really different. If you're sitting up at the top, your perspective of the game is very different than if you're a player, right? If you're looking at the camera's point of view, whether it's on the side or up above, it's really different than the coaches on the edge. The perspectives are different. And it wants you to give yourself that opportunity to look at different perspectives so that you can help yourself. So if you're stuck with something, you can't figure it out, you're not sure what's going on, you could just sit down, take a pause, take a moment, the way he's doing, survey your territory, survey your empire, and have a look, and then bring in different perspectives. If I were to approach it from here, what could be present? What does it feel like? What does it look like? If I were to approach it from over here, what does that give me? This person would approach it like this. What does that show me? Or what is working with them going to bring me because they bring a different perspective? So you don't have to do this alone, right? You don't have to do these things alone. Sometimes we feel we have to, and sometimes we do for important reasons. But if you can, you want to get your team, spirit team, as well as human team, and other creatures, if you have other creatures with you, involved so that you can get all different perspectives to help get a very rounded, balanced point of view. What else does this emperor have to say? As he has his feet on the earth, he brings something that's close to my heart. He brings a reminder not to step on the earth too heavily. So a little as you step into the mid-season and in June, stepping into a new season. So summer in the north, winter in the south, solstice, beautiful solstice. It's to connect with the earth. Do not believe that you rise above the earth as a human, but rather recognize that you are part of her journey, her experience, her livingness. And by being part of that, she allows you to have livingness as well. So check in with how are you utilizing resources from the planet? What's your energy for the planet? Are there ways that you can pay attention to certain things or shift certain things for yourself and for her? This would be a good month to work with the solstice energy and bring that into your awareness and consciousness if you haven't already. And if you have, if you're already doing that, then yay! Then you get the Emperor celebration and a big clap and cheers to you. Okay, so that's June, the Emperor from the Robin Wood Tarot, number 4 card. We move into July, so we've now gone into the next season, past the solstice into July. We're moving into the second half of the year, and it's from the Halloween Oracle. So the back of the Halloween Oracle is very Halloween-y, and we get Skull of Light, Illumination. Ooh, how beautiful. So here we see the skull. All the skulls on this card, on this deck, have the upper part. They don't have the lower jaw, the mandible. They are showing their power as a skull, as the bones. And in this one, we've got the light radiating all around. Little beautiful sparkles, almost like stars off in the distance. The light is radiating. You can kind of feel the energy coming out of the eye holes, the socket areas. And it's illumination. So for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, definitely this July is a big light month. It's a summer kind of energy. So it's coming in and we have that stability of sunlight for a little while before we get into the more late summer or autumn energies. For those in the Southern Hemisphere, you might want to bring in more light as you're in your winter. It is welcoming back. Your daylight's going to start to increase, but you want to bring light into your energy. Bring candles, bring brightness, step outside when it's sunny, or really feel light in a way that you need to wherever you are in the world in the Southern Hemisphere. The Skull of Light also is, it feels very spiritual. So it feels very, I guess etheric is the right word, metaphysical. So this is a point in your year, in July, where it would love for you to, there's a lot of checking in this year, to check in with your spiritual practices, to check in with your personal awareness of energy and light and illumination and love and sacredness. What are your practices on this? What are your beliefs around this? It can vary, it can be all different, but it's like there's something that wants to push through and open into the light. So have you been resisting a certain belief? Is there a practice that you've been pondering and thinking about up to this point in July? And you just haven't, or you haven't had a chance, or you're not sure. So this is really saying, let's illuminate that. Let's put the light on it. Let's get that skull of light opening and radiating on whatever that practice is, or that belief that wants you to hold it and shift it and work with it. So it feels a very spiritual month for you, July, which I find really interesting, and really wants you to check in with, are your practices changing? Do they need to change because of who you are and what you're living and what you're experiencing, or what is happening in the world around you? Do you need to connect in a different way? Welcoming in the light, working with light and shadow, because if you have light, you have shadow. But really, that idea of illuminating things for yourself. So, sparking brightness and light and that connection that comes with it. Let me see if there's anything else from this. Oh, it's almost like there's another one of these skull cards that has a candle on top of it. And it's kind of making me think of that a bit like at our Halloween, you would put a candle in a jack-o'-lantern. So it's almost like it wants to put a candle in the center of whatever it is you're working on and checking in with in terms of your connectedness with universe and energy, spirit, if that works for you, divine, whatever the terminology is for you, and really light that up. Beautiful. I love it. It also has a lot of love because of the pink color. It's bringing in that love energy, that heart-centeredness. So that can also be a beautiful guide for you. If the rest of it just doesn't quite make sense, go with that heart-centered, lift it up, illuminate it, allow it to express and feel and show you the way. So that's July. So then we get into August. So August is from the Soul Coaching Oracle cards, and we get gratitude. Nice. We get gratitude, and we have this beautiful woman who's in this dress. Her arms are up, celebrating, and she's on sort of a teal blue surface. And then in the background, there's little flecks going down diagonally. Her dress is a very burgundy maroon kind of color. And it says, the affirmation on this card says, "This is a glorious time to be alive, and I am so grateful." So we move from the July Skull of Light card, which I think has many more depths for people. So I would love to hear when we get to July what this card means for you. And then we come into gratitude, which of course it can be a great practice and is very valuable to connect with you, connect you with your present moment, connect you with life, and just that feeling of thankfulness and gratefulness. It is also a time to celebrate life. So celebrate the abundance of life. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, it comes more naturally because we're at the peak growing phase, August. So harvests are happening, blossoms are happening, life is in the garden. For those of you who know that I enjoy native plant gardening and exploring what life is in the garden. The trees are all green, so we get all of that. But we're also aware, it's like it wants to bring that awareness that things can shift and change really fast. So the circle of life can be long, and it can also be really short. Different species have a totally different length, but even within humans, sometimes things shift and change very, very fast. So this gratitude card in August 2025 is asking you specifically to look at gratitude around circle of life, around the cycle of life. So look at those people close to you. Maybe you have somebody who has shifted their beingness recently or over the last few years, has walked on or passed over. And really notice how that has affected you. Notice what you're grateful for around their living, their life, their passing, all of that. And then bring your gratitude into who is present with you, because it's a glorious time to be alive, and I'm so grateful. Now, if life is going more challenged in August for you and feeling more difficult, then the great gratitude is a base place to help you to see in your life what is valuable and helpful. It is also helpful to shift energies from maybe really seeing all the tough stuff to seeing things that are helpful and valuable. It can also open doors so that you can get different support from your spirit team as well as from humans. And I hope you get lots and lots of support in whatever ways you need. The other thing you want to check in with, especially if things are feeling a bit tough, difficult, challenging, stormy, in August 2025 for you with this gratitude card, is this idea that if you like behind her, she's got these little flecks. So they could be rain, which we can love, of course. But sometimes it also signifies for me almost a partially invisible fence or web or curtain that you can't really get beyond. And so the gratitude comes in to help you with that. But in August, it's also asking you to really notice where you're getting in your own way. So are you always thinking a certain thing that's not helpful? Are you repeating a cycle and you're seeing it over and over and over again? Are you turning to people who you know don't have the equipment or the capacity to be helpful and valuable to you and supportive in that way? So it's really a check-in with what is kind of curtaining you off from a helped life. And acknowledging that if there are systemic things in the world or in your community that are also not helping because of other people's decisions, then allow yourself to see that and don't take it on. Notice it, register it, send out vibes of change, of improvement, of maybe not being so greedy for certain people or not being so hostile for others, or just needing clarity and needing that bigger perspective that we've seen with other cards so far. And then come back into your gratitude, your needs, what's happening for you, where you can shift that veil, that wall, that curtain, and open it and see what's then there for you that could be represented as gratitude. Check in with all of that. Check in what could be stuck in your energy, in your way of thinking, in your way of being, that is actually not yours. It could be put upon you by somebody in your life, what they said, how they act, what they brought to you in terms of behavior and you had to react to. But also it could be past life. It could be family cycles that are going down, family trends, ways of doing something. It could be something you experienced in a past life that is just, it makes no sense to you now, but you always react that way. You always have that kind of experience. You always feel walled off or closed in that way. And this would be an invitation to work with someone to get that shifting, to get healing, work with yourself, meditate, pay attention to your thoughts, so that that curtain opens and that trend of whatever that is gets dissipated and healed and can just be done, can be done for you, and something else can move in. But gratitude will also be helpful in that. This is a glorious time to be alive, and I am so grateful. That is for August 2024. We move into September, another equinox month for fall for us up in the north and for spring for you in the southern hemisphere. So we go to the Power of Surrender Oracle cards. This is the back of the deck. And here we surrender denial. Powerful card for September. Surrender denial. We see this beautiful woman going through a field that's coming up to harvest time. It looks like a grain field. She's got clouds up in the sky, shifting and moving in all different directions. She's wearing a long white flowing dress, as you do when you're running through a field, but she's blindfolded. So surrender denial. Let me read the words on this card. Accept people and situations exactly as they are, without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. So it's carrying on a little bit of that last part of the gratitude card from August, bringing that into September. Let me read it again. Surrender denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. So you don't want to make somebody out to be something they're not. If they're not skilled in that, if they're not equipped for that, if they don't want to do that and always tell you so, accept it, and either move on or just accept it and find clarity, find compromise, find a way to move into whatever you need with that person without expecting there to be something different. Now, it doesn't mean that that person can't make choices and changes themselves. They need to accept things for themselves. But it means that you have to first accept what is there before anybody can be changing. So you got to accept your parts and you got to accept somebody else's part if there is a dialogue like that, or a lack of dialogue, as the case may be. It's also bringing up an analogy, I think, of sort of when you think of acceptance like this, because it's September, it's bringing us that acceptance of the season of the part of the world where you're in. So for us, September is when we really start to see the light changing. The end of the day gets darker faster. The trees start to change. The vines start to change their leaf color. Late September, it really does happen. The temperature can be super summery, but it can also be really autumnal and change and get cooler. So we can deny it. We can deny it and say, we're still summer, nothing's changing. And many of us do, wearing shorts, wearing t-shirts, wearing sandals into the colder weather. But when you take it on that metaphorical perspective of denial, at some point, it does damage to the person. It doesn't help the person because there's a reality that is present. So it is both allowing you to see the reality, but also to then be able to make decisions within that reality that work for you, that work for your freedom, your flow, your expressiveness, your harvesting. Because if she takes off the blindfold, she can be more aware. She can be looking around and seeing things and listening to things differently. Now, as I say that, there's a check-in with that, which is really interesting, with the September card that says, while you're surrendering denial, letting it go, surrender it, accepting people and situations as they are without denying the difficulties. This is really tough. This is really difficult. That didn't work. I didn't like that. It was challenging for me. It was hard for me. I wish we could do something different, but I don't know what it is. But right now, this is what's happening. It also wants you to check in with your intuitiveness, check in with your intuitive senses, your gut, if you like, your instinct on things. So where are you being told something instinctually, inner knowing, inner wisdom that is perhaps different than what your thinking is saying, or what some of your emotions are saying, or what you're being told to think and accept. So there's a disconnect somewhere in there. So you would love to get your thinking, your emotions, your body aligned with your intuitive knowing, your inner wisdom, your gut feelings. You would love to get those aligned. But when they're not, this card is saying if you put the blindfold on and you lose that sense, you've got to pay attention to other senses. What is your reaction? What's your vibrations? What's your hearing? What's your touch? So you may not literally do that, but if you're connecting with your intuition, if you're connecting with your inner wisdom and knowing about a person or a situation, then it might help you to release that denial because you're going to understand something on a different level. However, remember some of our previous cards that if there are cycles that you're always repeating, you're always in the same situation of difficulty, then that would be for you to accept something that perhaps you need to be aware of for yourself. So surrendering the denial that I don't have anything that I need to work on, that would then become important because the signs are showing you that, if that's the case for you. Okay. So this surrender card, surrendering denial, is all about that trying to get into that beauty of harvest and flow and allowing things to feel free for you. But when you're in denial or you're not accepting things for how they really are, it just takes so much longer from what I'm feeling with this card. Eventually you'll get there, but it just delays and delays, and it accentuates the difficulties and makes them bigger than they perhaps need to be. So you want that surrender denial so you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. Okay, that's September 2025. Moving on, I'm gonna have a sip of tea. We're doing great. I hope this is interesting for you so far. We've got a few more cards to go. September, October. So October 2025 is from the Gilded Tarot. So October is, you're in the next month, you're in the next season, sorry. So for us, we're in fall, autumn. For the Southern Hemisphere, you are in spring energy, and we're also moving towards a big celebration near the end of the month. So for us, it's Samhain, Halloween, October, November, and those sort of energies. And there's a lot that can come. The veil is thinned, and it can be a lot of energy. Let's see what the card wants to bring. Four of Swords. Oh my goodness. Four of Swords. So when I think about, yeah, sacred, fun, beautiful October, Four of Swords is not the card that I think of. So here we see our fellow, or could be a soldier, could be a merchant, lying on his bed, eyes wide open. He is staring at the ceiling, if you like. He's got his sword next to him, which is one of the four swords. And the others are up on the on a decoration, or they're floating in space as the swords do in the tarot. Okay, so let me see here. Just getting hot, moving my hair. Woo. Okay, so what we see here is the four and the swords. So the swords for me in the tarot are the air suit, and they're the thinking, the mindset, the intellect. They are also a conflict card. And they can be power as well, because it can cut through things. So they can be the power. The four, the way I look at it, is often it can be a stuck energy. So feeling trapped, stuck, boxed in, unsure, not knowing where to go next, feeling worried, all of that could come in with this card. But the fours can also be a very sacred, angelic number, the fours. They can be setting the cornerstones. They can be really allowing things to create structure and home in that way, where you have the sort of four walls and ready to go. So it can do both. Now with this card, the visual on this card is not the sort of happy, sacred, beautiful feeling four. It's more the worried, unsure, lying in bed, eyes wide open, can't stop thinking, and looking at all these problems, looking at these challenges of these swords pointing down. So in October of 2025, we're looking at possibly a phase of an increased challenge. And I don't like to say that, because I wish we would have happy, happy, joy, joy, but life is life and the world is the world. And so this could be a phase of increased challenge in some way in October 2025. But what now we know that what we want to pay attention leading to it and throughout all the other cards is that we want to pay attention to what are the thoughts, actions, denials we've just seen, and anything else that could lead to challenges, that could lead to worries, that could lead to difficulties later in the year with the October energy. So how can you basically help yourself leading up to October before you get there? And that could be really important. You also want to notice where you could tend to kind of get into battle gear. And again, the tarot talks in a kind of old way with these types of cards, the classic tarot. Um, and so the four, it's all, is he getting ready for a battle? Is he preparing for it? And that's why he's, oh my goodness, he's looking up at the ceiling and he's got his sword at the ready. Maybe there's an upcoming battle soon that he's going to have to be dealing with. And that's huge and that's big. So, what could be something that you are feeling that you're entering into a phase you're getting into, or you could be getting into that has that kind of energy? And can you shift it? Can you change it? Can you do something different? Can you think something different? Can you make a different choice? Can you bring a different awareness? Can you talk to yourself in a different way? Um, a bit like we had earlier in the year, you could also look at what energy are you bringing to the world and how is the world reflecting that to you, and check in there and see if there's a shift that can be done. Let me see if there's anything else that wants to come up with this. This feels like it's overall as well, so it can touch on a whole bunch of different avenues in life and in your life. Um, so as you do the surrender denial stuff in September, um, and accepting things for how they are, to then make better decisions, to then see things clearly, that feels like it's your key for your lock that will help the October whatever's going on. So if you keep that lock closed and the door closed, the gate closed, the room closed, then October feels like it's going to be more difficult and more boxed in and more worrying. However, if you take the September card and you use that key and unlock that and open the window, open the shutters, open the cage, open the door, then you can step into this Four of Swords in October and look at it as a new opportunity, a different kind of start than you'd ever anticipated, because you're setting yourself up for something new and valuable and helpful. And that is a great opportunity for you. So you can really work with this getting to October. As it mentioned before, the swords are also the power energy. So where are you empowering yourself or not? Where are you giving your power to another person, a situation, an energy in the world, a topic happening, a way that somebody else approaches things? Where are you giving your energy and your focus? And then what is your own system saying? Are you getting worried about it? Is it staying on your mind? Is it affecting you in wellness and good thinking? Or is it really helping? And that would be important for you to notice too. Okay. So that's all the October energy. Very interesting. Lots of opportunities to shift there, but it's going to require some oomph and some understanding and awareness with those swords, that conflict kind of possibility. All right. So then we move from that October card and we move into the Native Spirit Oracle card for November. So let's see. My sense as I'm talking about the October card is that end of October, early November phase is going to be an option on a big transition of something. If it was challenging, there will be an opportunity for a big transition. So let's see what comes with the Native Spirit card. So we get the Spirit Keeper of the West, which is very much an autumn, October, November card for those of us in the north, because this would be representing the sort of northern energy on this. So it is talking about harvest time. What are you harvesting? It is talking about that sun setting. So the end of year phase gets darker, the leaves change, they fall from the trees. And what are you setting an end to? So perhaps with that October card, the Four of Swords, there is an invitation to end something, to complete something, to surrender something. And then we move into the harvest, the wisdom that comes with experience, the wisdom that comes with that spirit keeper of the Western energy. So this is when one has lived a certain amount of time, one has experienced, one has observed, and then made choices accordingly. There is that harvest that is ready to be plucked and utilized. But at the same time, we go back into ourselves somewhat with the change of the season and that West energy. So this is, as well as everything I've just said, this Spirit Keeper of the West card for November is asking you as you wind down 2025, so you're moving from in November 2025 with this card, to really look back at your year and look at where have you utilized wisdom, where have you gained experience, where have you become wiser and have done decisions that work to your benefit and help you. Really notice those things. It doesn't want you to wait until December. It wants you to do it in November. And I think one of the reasons for that is that it can sometimes be a sort of an in-between month, especially for those of certain northern countries. It can start to get really dark. Some places, of course, celebrate things in November, obviously. So you can look at it depending on your energy in your area, but it's end of year energy as well. So it's looking at what do you want to focus on and be aware of that you have gained and harvested and worked on and empowered yourself with that represents wisdom of the wiser, more elder status. So even if you're young, you would look at, okay, what have I gained? What have I learned? What have I experienced? And then what does that mean for me? What does it show me? Where do I get wisdom from that I can then use forward? And also just to feel it for yourself, that you go, yeah, look at that. I made these mistakes, but then I learned from them. I did this different than I did last year. And so I got these benefits. I'm more aware of me in these ways. I'm more empowered in these ways. I have more self-compassion because I worked on that with one of the cards, allowing all of that to play. So you could, if you want, go back through the cards and to see what has been gained from them in terms of choice and action and awareness. That could be an interesting activity with this Spirit Keeper of the West. Let me see what else is coming in with this card. It's a reminder that often comes in with the Spirit Keeper cards that you are the keeper of your spirit, right? You are the keeper of your physical body, your mind, your heart, your soul, your energy. So how you keep it benefits you in all different ways and is of value to you. So if you have not been, by this point in November 2025, keeping your spirit and whatever that means to you in a way that really helps you, then perhaps that's why you had some of the Four of Swords sort of feeling in October. And it's not criticizing you, it's not judging you with the Spirit Keeper. It's just reminding you that this Spirit Keeper energy is so valuable and beautiful and vast that you can really utilize it in all different facets of your life whenever you need to. And that's important for you. So that's November, Spirit Keeper of the West. Take on other things, look at other things with that card, feel into it. The autumnal energies of that card are very present. But also, so is the bright sunshine. So you have that sun as well. Don't forget that you still have that bright sunshine working and doing so much and being so valuable in your day-to-day. Then we move to December 2025. And it's from the Gateway Oracle cards, and we get a giving birth card. So now it makes sense that we had all that sort of reflection in November. It's because December is coming in with a giving birth energy in December 2025. So we see this person in their sort of gel capsule cocoon area, cabbage patch, ready to go, ready to be birthed in some way. We see, night moving to day. We see some spirit energy with this beautiful dove or dove spirit-like essence. And it says, I am bringing forth new and dynamic energy into the world. So December feels totally different. December feels as though all of the stuff from the year, the challenges, the helpful parts, the awareness, the worked on, the world stuff is now coming in December to say, look at this amazing hope. Look at what is going to be birthed. Look at this new energy, and it's dynamic and it's valuable, and I can allow it to come in. But yes, you need to allow it to come in. So feel whatever you feel kind of pregnant with in terms of energy. Feel what has been brewing, what's ready to come up. Notice what the world is bringing to you and showing you and inviting of you as you get to this December 2025. Many people celebrate holidays in December. There's also solstice as well, which is powerful. So this giving birth energy before a new year is so interesting because you can bring in so much and welcome it and hold it and feel into it. What is it? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And then allow that new and dynamic energy to break through that capsule and to come into your life and into the world. And that's beautiful. Peace will also be a message in December, very appropriate. So we have a dove here, that kind of spirit energy coming in. It feels like for some people, not everyone, but for some people, there will really be a passing of, I would say, a passing of an older generation. So in many ways, that can be really hard at the end of the year. So you might be remembering that, or it might be the feeling of something really shifting in a family dynamic. So the birthing can be a new dynamic in a family as an elder passes over, walks on. So that feels like for some people, this is going to be happening in December, which is an interesting feeling. And you can, of course, let me know. I don't wish it for you if your family is well. I want them to keep their family people, of course, that it feels like for somebody somewhere, it is going to be an important aspect of December 2025. So to pay attention to that, to notice that, and if you can do anything to shift it leading up to that, then please do so. But otherwise, know that it's coming with birthing energy. So that cycle of life, circle of life we had in one of the other cards, it's reminding that with every passage into spirit, there is a birth that happens as well, literally on the planet in many ways, but also within the family, within who is left in human existence after that person has passed. Okay, so the spirit energy feels beautiful, feels lovely. So if you have had a loss in your family in December 2025 or leading up to that, or you're remembering it, I would really embrace the love, the just serene and beautiful power of spirit in December. It shows itself in so many ways in the December month. So you can really hopefully feel that and welcome that in as expressed by this beautiful sort of spirit peace dove energy above the giving birth card. Okay. So that is our December card. Amazingly enough, we've come to all of them. So let me review. So we've had answering the call, January, February, stepping into stillness. My power is born in the majesty of silence. Let me show you them again so you can remember. Answering the call, January. February, stepping into stillness. My power is born in the majesty of silence. March, Queen of Pentacles. April, leadership. I am a beacon of radiance, support, and love. That's April. May, lotus flower unfoldment. June, We get the Emperor, number 4. July, Skull of Light, illumination. August, gratitude. This is a glorious time to be alive, and I am so grateful. September, surrender, denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. October, 4 of Swords. This fellow. November is Spirit Keeper of the West. And we just saw the December card, Giving Birth. I am bringing forth new and dynamic energy into the world. Okay. So we have one card left to go. We've got the theme card, the center card. So these are all in a circle, and we have the center card, which for this year, we just have one theme card, and it's from the Earth Magic Oracle. Let's see. This is a card that will play all year, and it will be reminded. You can integrate it into the different cards and see how it plays with them, and you work with it each and every month. And it's the Wind Activation card. Interesting. So things blowing in, blowing out, getting activated, working with action, working with activation. So this year feels as though there will be these sort of ups and downs. There will be this blowing in, blowing out energy. There will be calm moments, which is why we probably had a couple of cards that were like, whoa, just calm down, step into stillness. But then there will be sort of busy and challenge and awareness and focusing. So the wind activation. Don't fight the wind, work with the wind, harness the wind, utilize it. So in this card, we see the energy of wind, the spirit of wind, if you like. So you could call in the spirit of wind to help you activate things for yourself in whatever way you need it, connecting with each card of the month and also anything else that's coming for you in the year. So you can work with spirit of wind, spirit of air, and get things moving. Blow in, blow out. When things are good, ask it to calm down. Thank you very much. When you need a change, I would love that to be activated. I would love there to be a shifting and a changing and a sparkling of something that comes in. So wind activation is the theme card for 2025 from my year wheel. Amazing. Amazing. I thank you so very much for tuning in, whether you've watched the whole thing or you've watched little parts of it throughout the year. I hope that it is bringing you insights and points of reference for each and every month of this 2025. And I look forward to hearing all of your reflections and observations as you go through each month of the year and as you connect with the cards, with your own intuitive insights, with your journey, and also with me. So I'm wishing you a wonderful 2025. Take care of yourself, listen to your intuition, work with your guidance as well as your humanness, mind, heart, spirit, body, and soul. Until next time, I'm Sheila Bicknell, BlueWater Oracle. Happy New Year. Ciao.